чего эта наша работа состоит.
Ага.
Так, что? So, hi everybody. My name is Katerina Kovalevskaya. I'm a head of Ukrainian HR Association, HR Pro. And welcome to our meeting. I'm really happy that you're ready to invest your time together with our experts to such a topic and to such a conversation. Because really, right now, it's not so easy to think about future. But anyway, we need to think about it, plan it, and be prepared to it. Sustainable career path in HR sphere, in HR management. It's a topic we will discuss today. And let's say a couple of rules how it can be today. First of all, you can ask your questions and use the chat. We can see, I will check the chat and will let our experts to answer the question directly or maybe at the end after their presentation. It's the first. And the second, what I wanted to mention, that it's a meeting of friends, colleagues and friends. So please be ready to ask what is really interesting for you, be active, proactive, because if you think about career, if you think about developing your career, you for sure should be proactive. So let's do it even today. Today with me, three Ukrainian HRD. And I'm really happy that despite of the fact of the war and terrible, turbulent times for our country, that people continue to work and ready to share their expertise today with you. And I'm sure their advices and their story will help you to develop your own career, and I'm sure they have some insights and they will be able to inspire you to move forward and develop really sustainable career. So, Polina Aydin, Lyudmila Gorovaya, Mikhail Zavillo will help me today, and they tell you their own story about their career and about their ideas how to build sustainable career. Next slide, please. A couple of words about myself and our association. As I said, I'm a head of Ukrainian HR Pro Association, and we are, as local, as Ukrainian HR Association, usually doing the same stuff as any European HR association doing. It's learning, events, professional events, professional recognition. You can see HR Pro Awards, surveys, and we are now preparing some big survey considering the current situation in our country and challenges HR community facing right now in such a turbulent time, unusual condition. And we are official representative of SHRM, and I will tell you a couple of words about this association later on, in Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Poland. Next one, please. Whenever we think about career path is moving up the corporate ladder in hierarchical system of organization. Increasing the position and level of responsibility. There are many different options. It can be vertical, horizontal, diagonal career path. And whenever we ask experts what is sustainable career for them, we can see so many ideas. What is it? It's leadership, it's resilience, it's team, it's trainings, it's upskillings, it's opportunity to influence the organization and influence your own life. So it's exactly what motivates us to do these extra steps, to do this, to invest our own time, our own resources in our own development. And for sure, whenever we develop ourselves, it helps us to develop our companies, our team, our companies, and our country in general. Next slide. Couple of words about SHRM and any kind of HR association. What is the purpose of any HR association? It's to elevate the HR profession, empower people, workplaces, advancing HR practices, and by maximizing human potential, and for sure, build the best place to work for people, and for ourselves and for our colleagues and for our teams. Next one. Couple of words about SHRM. As you can see from the numbers, in 173 countries, we can find members of SHRM community. It's the biggest HR community in the world. 120,000 SHRM certified professionals all over the world. 300,000 community members. And it was found, the year of foundation of SHRM is 1948. So it's a really association with a long history. Next one. Our partnership with SHRM, it's already 7 years, and 7 years we collected the delegation to SHRM annual conference. And SHRM annual conference is the biggest gathering of HR professionals in the world. Before pandemic, it was more than 20,000 people collecting in one moment. Last time, when it was already after pandemic, it was 8,000 people in Las Vegas only offline, and plus 3,000, more than 3,000 online. It's early certification preparation course and many more SHRM products, courses, and information available for HR professionals. Next one. Next slide, please. Okay. Of course, I can tell you a couple of more words, how it's important to be a part. Okay, SHRM certification. Usually, if you already pay attention to this certification, you've seen these letters, SHRM CP and SHRM SCP. It's certified professional and senior certified professional. There is different, you can see it's for different level of professionals with different experience and background. But if to tell in general, senior certified professional, it's for a specialist who already has his own team, who already paying attention to strategy development, leading HR function, and foster influence in the community. Next slide. Before it was the SHRM body of competencies knowledge. Now it's body of applied skills and knowledge. Why I said that it's changing? SHRM paying really serious attention to just to update the information, to update their body of competencies. And as you know, right now in HR, we pay more and more attention to skills. So it's really model focus on your skills and knowledge. And as you can see, there is two main domain. There is a knowledge and there is competencies. So how you use this knowledge during your practice. Next slide, please. Why I pay so much attention to this certification? Because as we said from the very beginning, to develop your career, to develop, there is just the general rules if you want to develop your career. You should be able to admit your own mistakes. You should not be afraid to take on difficult matters and bring them to the end. Be able to accept criticism from your management and from your colleagues. Be easy to communicate. But if we talk about sustainability, right now in our times, after pandemic, after just during the time when pandemic can come, when climate changes brings us different kind of problems and disaster, when such a things as war can happen in the middle of Europe, you should think about sustainability, about your own resilience, your own professional resilience. That's why I think one of the best way to build a sustainable career is to build international career. And what can help you to be more international? It doesn't mean that you should change the country or you just should work for international companies. It means that you should be able to show the level of your knowledge and the level of your competencies as high as possible. This is, I think, the main idea. So this is the result of some research SHRM made 1 year ago. And what we can see that professionals with SHRM, and I think with any kind of international certification in general, but right now we're talking about SHRM, shows that it's really helped to be more confident. I just don't want to repeat and say these numbers. You can see them clearly from the screen, but it helps you to be more visible, more confident, and understand the profession in general, and just in every part of it. Next one. So why it's better to be certified? Because it really help you to be professionally more satisfied. It really helps you to impact your organization more. Because if you're more self-confident, if your solutions and proactive decisions is really built on international background, it really helps you to influence your managerial team much more. So what is this? What else? Career intent to work in HR, it helps you to continue to be inside this field, because really if you do such an effort and get this certification, believe you want to continue to stay in this profession. And if you're so dedicated to some topics, for sure you will be successful in it. Next slide. Okay, I think right now it's better for me to let our expert to share their experience and their thoughts, why they decided to be certified and what they are thinking about sustainable career paths in HR management. Polina Aydin, SHRM SCP, HR Director of TSUM Kyiv Department Store. Please, Polina, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already did it. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your interest to the SHRM certification. And today I have an opportunity and pleasure to share with you my career story and my educational part and the role of SHRM in it. My name is Polina Aydin, and I am HR Director of TSUM Kyiv Department Store. And I'm very happy that I can contribute to the development of SHRM education in Ukraine and abroad. My career story started in 2003 when I joined Metro Vacation Care Ukraine. And I have to say that I have my two major employers. They are Metro and TSUM Kyiv Department Store, who played a significant role in my own development. Within the 14 years which I have spent in Metro Vacation Care Ukraine, I have moved horizontally and vertically in the HR function, starting from training assistant. And my last role in MCC Ukraine was a HR business partner responsible for the store operations for all the number of stores which at that moment existed in Metro Ukraine. As you can see from my story, the biggest part of my HR work was in the T&D sphere. There I grew up, and after 8 years of staying in the T&D, I moved to a regional HR role, and I moved from the head office to the stores, and I worked in the stores with the store team, learning both the business and HR in business, applicable HR in business. In 2017, it was a big gift for me. I consider it as a big gift for me from my employer and my former HRD. I had an opportunity to learn, to study with SHRM, and to try myself and to obtain the certification, which was successful. After 1 year, I decided to move further since I've always wanted to grow further sustainably, professionally. I had an opportunity to continue my development outside of Metro Ukraine when I joined TSUM. And here my next journey started. I will tell you about it a little bit later. And I've been working with TSUM since 2018. And as you can see, what is shown on the slide, in 2020, I was recertified because the certification is not given for forever. It's given for, or it's granted for 3 years period, because you have to stay in the position, you have to continue to develop yourself. And if you follow all the requirements and if you are still up to the level, then you can try yourself and get recertified, which I did in 2020. I used the period of lockdown when COVID came to Ukraine for the first time. And I passed the recertification. As you can also see, in 2020 and in 2021, I am in the list of the top 30 HRDs of Ukraine. All this would be impossible if I didn't work for such a wonderful company as TSUM Kyiv Department Store. And I pleasure to tell you some words about it. As you can see, it looks like this. It is a department store in the heritage, located in the heritage building, which has historical meaning for Ukraine. It's located in the heart of Kiev. And it is a 8 floors building where we sell luxury and premium segment of ladies wear, men's wear, accessories, sports, kids wear, toys, home and gifts. There's food and beverages floor and entertainment. Our business model consists of the 4 key elements. I'm sure you can read the slide without me. That's why I will better tell you some words which you cannot see here on the slide. Our business model in Zoom consists of the 4 key elements. One of them is own buying. We buy by ourselves more than 250 brands. The second element is leasing, online store, and marketplace. So, and to do this, you need to have a sustainable team, sustainable HR and business practices, which would help the business to grow and to develop. When I joined Zoom early 2018, the business was just 1 year after big reconstruction. So that's why we call it a startup, and we develop and have been developing the Zoom business since 2017-18, and we're continuing to do so. And this was the right moment for me to come and to start supporting the business from the HR perspective. And how I would do this, because if you see, I tried to link what we have now and what I have learned from SHRM in order to apply it here. The organization that I'm working for, I needed a solid structure, needed organizational effectiveness practices and KPIs. Needed to ensure that we have correct labor relations, we have correct technology management, and we have enough skills and competencies in order to develop the Zoom from inside. The workplace, you have seen that wonderful building, you have seen inside some parts of it. So we are working locally because Zoom is a local Ukrainian company, but we are thinking and acting globally. And this is what is necessary for disregardless where you stay, in what country, in what business you work, international, local. The wider you are, the more open-minded you are, the more agile you are to all the risks which appear and all the ad hoc events which happen in our life. Therefore, HR in the global context, diversity and inclusion, risk management, all these things I had to take into consideration while designing the HR strategy starting from 2018. Now we come to the people. People is the most important asset, which I strongly believe in and which I am confident and which I transfer and always tell to my partners in Zoom, my partners, my team in the HR, and therefore the aspects of strategic planning, of talent acquisition and talent management, employee engagement, retention, learning and development, employee rewards, total rewards, all this. So I had to think and include into my HR strategy immediately after joining Zoom. And altogether, in order to, and what I realized and understood that in order to build successful HR strategy, successful team, HR team, and HR practices in the business, and by doing so to continue and to help and to support, develop the business, I needed as HRD, on the one hand, professional competencies, on another hand, leadership competencies, business competencies, and interpersonal competencies to link all this together. And I have to say from my own experience that I used the SHRM model. I used all the knowledge which are given by SHRM in the logical way, in the sustainable way. I used it in the new business context for me, because before I worked in the food retail, now I work in the non-food luxury premium segment. And it's not only retail, we call it experiential retail, because it's not about fashion, it's not only about buying, it's about entertainment and experience, which our customers get inside of the tool. Therefore, the competencies, the skills, the set of knowledge, and as you could see, the applied body of skills and knowledge were definitely applied by me. This is what I can say when designing the HR strategy, when building the HR team, when working together with the senior management team, taking part in the designing of the business model, and also, unfortunately, but it's also part of our life. I'm also a part of a crisis management team, and we have enough of crisis for today. And risk management, agility, at the same time, leadership competences, influence, the power of influence, the power of engagement and employee relations management. All this is I'm actively using, and for me it is like a frame, like a fundamental, which I rely on, which I use when building or making the decision inside of my organization. What's in it for me? As I already mentioned before, and I continue saying so, being new in the fashion industry, being new in the company, having the company which I started to build the HR function from scratch, because before it was the HR administration process, and the rest was the field of work for me. Therefore, designing, building, and implementing the HR strategy, HR processes, HR instruments and tools was a good challenge for me as a new HRD in that role. At the same time, I had a strong partner. This is my education. This is my SHRM certification, where I can rely on it. I know that it's up to date. I know that it is wide enough to cover all the possible aspects which may or exist in the HR world. What I also would like to say that, and I'm trying to give it to my team, I'm trying to, in whatever decisions I make, I also try to refer to it. What also is important for me, that I have to say that SHRM itself as an organization is also developing themselves, constantly developing themselves. They are updating the knowledge, they are updating the core competencies, they are updating the materials where you can read, and you can always have access to, because SHRM, it's a huge net of HR professionals around the world, which gave me networking connection, which gave me new updated materials which I use in my daily practice. And this is for me a really constant and sustainable HR partner in terms of my HR education. And as we all know, we develop ourselves along with our lifelong work challenges, tasks, and etc. I will briefly mention some words about recertification. As I told you, in 2020, I recertified, and I was awarded and I confirmed my SHRM SCP certification for the next 3 years. How you can do this? There are 2 ways how you can recertify yourself. One is to take the exam again. You can take the exam again, earn the credits, and certify or recertify yourself. The second option is you can, within the period of 3 years, you can earn the professional development credits, and you can do that gradually, sustainably, together with your work. And how you can do that, there are 3 main aspects. One is advance your education, advance your organization, and advance your profession. As you can see, they even call it advance your organization, advance your education, and advance your profession. You have to stay within the profession. You have to apply all what you learn, what you read in your company. And you can write a project or projects about really business, HR, current subject, which is relevant for your company, describe it in a certain format. And for that, you will receive a part of your PDCs. If you're talking about advance your organization, you can have access to the SHRM world digitally, online, except the books. You can study online, you can have online quizzes, online tests. There are certain online SHRM approved materials which you can have. There are subscriptions which you can use. For example, I personally used subscription SHRM on demand, and it is a combination of more than 700 one-hour speeches from various conferences around the world. And I use that to advance my education and advance your organization. This is participation in the conferences as a speaker or in the panel discussion, participation in or writing articles. So using this several instruments within these three key flows, it helps you within the 3-year period collect your PDCs, and at the end of a 3-year period, you submit all these PDCs to the SHRM, and within something around one week, 10 days, or before, you receive the confirmation that you were approved, like I did it in my case. So far, this is it. I will be happy to provide you with any additional information you ask to answer your questions. And please join us. Please become HR SHRM certified, and let's make together better workplaces for better world. Thank you.
Alina, thank you very much. And you really, it's great to have such an expert who, just love certification as much as I do. And so our next expert, Mikhail Zavillo, I think one of the most experienced HR professional in our country, HR professional. Mikhail, tell us your story and share your ideas and your experience about SHRM certification, and what is it for you to build a career, to build a sustainable career in HR?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Ekaterina, for inviting me to this webinar. Well, yeah, Polina's story was very exciting, and I think she was a good example of how SHRM certification confirmed her experience, confirmed her knowledge. I have a little bit different story in my case, where I would say, so SHRM certification confirmed, so that when you're working at international environment, international companies, and the companies which use the best practices of HR, or let's say best practices of company management, so that definitely helps you to receive the certification. I will come to that a little bit later, but now I will spend a couple of minutes on my, let's say, personal experience in HR. Well, I joined HR in 1997 when joined Procter & Gamble Ukraine, and spent there almost 4 years starting as HR training assistant, and in the end, I was multifunctional team HR manager responsible for development of all distributional network in Ukraine. Later on, like in Polina's story, so I used to work at Metro Cash & Carry Ukraine, and there I joined the organization in 2002 when the company joined the market. And within 10 years there, I really had a great time growing the company from the scratch, let's say, and growing the HR organization and practices from the fundament of its and to an organization of 7,000 employees. That was an exciting time, different of, let's say, economy flops and down in Ukraine, few Maidans on the way, and really well, despite of that difficult times or different times, so we managed to build and show us as a strong HR team and strong organization. So just few kind of, let's say, examples or few confirmations of those, that Nhr was among best employers in 2006, 2007, and as the best retailer in the country on the same years. Afterwards, after some time, let's say in smart holding, I moved to IT, and my experience in IT was starting from Microsoft in 2014 and until now, where I am a chief HR officer at New Age Group of companies. Once again, so different industries, different positions, and I would say, so from my own experience, that both knowledge in the companies which build their, let's say, growth on the best practices all over the world and including HR practices, and on the other hand, SHRM certification, which really also builds its competencies and its practical cases on the, let's say, best practices from the real world, from the real organization. Why? Why so? So I have received SHRM SCP certification in 2019. So that was about 25 years from my start in HR career. So you may ask me, why did I do that? On the one hand, I really, to tell you the truth, so actually I was approached by Ekaterina and HR Pro organization for many times, and I didn't really not want, but I didn't find enough time to spend on learning the materials and passing the exam. In 2019, I had a break and I decided, why not? So I had enough experience. I thought I had enough knowledge that would help me to pass the examination quickly, let's say so. On the one hand, I didn't, I underestimated a little bit the depths of the materials and the, let's say, the seriousness of certification and difficultness of some topics. On the other hand, I would say definitely my experience at companies like P&G, Metro, Microsoft helped me a lot because I understood very well the processes, different topics of HR, let's say, work, and I could apply my practical knowledge into it while replying the answers. So to make this story short, so my practical experience really helped me a lot to quickly pass the exam. So it confirms that both. So on the one hand, SHRM uses real practices, real world stories, and builds its material and theory on it. On the other hand, if you really want to grow within good organization, it will definitely help you. Yeah, because those knowledge you will be able to apply in your practical work in your career. Irina, if you move to another slide. I want also to dwell a little bit on what other opportunities SHRM certification gives to you, not only to build your sustainable career within the organization, but also outside or within HR community worldwide. So given probably, let's say, my experience and my certification, I became much more visible on LinkedIn or anywhere where I put a stamp of my SHRM SCP certification. So I name it a stamp, but because it's really seals the level of knowledge and expertise you have. Due to that, not only in my home country, in Ukraine, but worldwide, So I was approached by SHRM organization, or SHRM, sorry, organization itself. So, and they involved me into preparation of SHRM SCP and SHRM CP exam materials. So I'm one of the, let's say, experts who knows a little bit in advance what will be the exam questions in the coming years. On the other hand, given once again that certification, I think, so I became visible for different other companies worldwide. So, and became approached by many of them to become their non-executive board member to help their organization to build modern and sustainable HR practices. On the other hand, I mean, if you become certified and you are looking for colleagues for your own organization, when you see a sign of SHRM SCP or SHRM CP certification, you definitely can rely on that candidate. So, and I can prove it from my own experience many, many times. So okay, probably not really SHRM SCP, but at least those who passed the program of preparation for the certification. Actually, we have that in Ukraine, and it's called Global HR Pro, thanks to Ekaterina. So we have already, how many, 9 or 10 rounds, 10 groups which have finished that certification in the last 6 years already, I think. And that definitely great program, and I encourage everyone who is going to grow in HR and prepare for SHRM SCP or SHRM CP certificates to join this program. By the way, due to the current war conditions in Ukraine, so we are moving to online format. COVID was not a problem for us, and we had a mixed format. Currently, we are preparing to really run it online and in short modules. So I think Ekaterina will have time to share more about that. And definitely the certification makes you renowned. So those who really know what does it mean, so they see your certification sign on your profile or whatever, so, and they trust your knowledge, so they may not even not check it. So, and I had cases when I was approached by some other companies, headhunters and whatever, just due to it. So that is why to summarize this story, so I really encourage you to get the certificate, as it is the confirmation of your expertise, or in case you are going to just start your life cycle in HR. So this will really give you a good path for your career growth, for sure. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them.
Mikhail, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your story. And now we know who we should ask about future questions. I'm joking. I know that. I know that
I'm not allowed to do that. Sorry.
I'm joking. I know how it works, and for sure it's and you know that SHRM certification, it has the highest level of. In the US, there is an institute which evaluates certification, and this certification has the highest level. So it's really complicated to pass by. It's not so easy. And thank you for honest sharing that you are underestimated the materials from the very beginning, because really when you have such a experience, when you're so many years successfully working in HR, you think, oh my God, I can do it easily. And it looks like even despite of the whole experience, we during our work, we anyway pay more attention to some topics, less attention to another one, and SHRM certification cover the whole set of necessary knowledge and competencies. That's why it anyway needs some preparation, needs some times, and even sometimes it's not so easy to pass it from the very beginning, and it's completely normal story to retry it again and do second attempt and finally pass it and really show that your knowledge and your expertise really worldwide accepted. I want to switch to Ludmila and to our third expert, our third HRD. Ludmila, please share with us your story.
Hello, everyone. It's really an honor to me to share my story. So I first need to share my screen. Do you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. So, okay. Now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yes, my name is Ludmila Garava, and I am HR Director of Agro-Prosperis Group. And next few slides will be about our group to understand where I am now in my career. So we are a big agro-production and supply chain operator in Ukraine. We provide world resources to a national grain producer. And we have two business units, agro-production, and this is almost 300,000 hectares of land. And we produce 1.5 million tons annually of grain. And it's of course it's before war statistics, and we also have our own supply chain in which we have own silos, 10 elevators around Ukraine, our own rail cars, barges. We also purchase grain from farmers and export it to world markets. And this is the volume of 2 million tons annually. We also have our own Agro-Prosperis Bank, and that gives loans to Ukrainian farmers and helps them produce grain. And we have our own distribution. We are direct dealers of chemicals, of equipment, necessary equipment for farmers, and seeds. Next slide shows our exporting regions, and again it's before war statistics, and I think that this year our map will change a bit and we'll trade more to Europe probably. Yeah, but actually you see that it's almost fifth, maybe parts of the world that we feed, as I say. Okay, and next slide is about my universities, and for now I have two. My first degree is a teacher. I'm a teacher of English and Russian languages and of foreign literature. So I was not born as an HR, and my career path was quite long to an HR position. Yes, and so I'm a psychologist by my second degree, and by now I have two certifications, and it's because you know, I understood from the beginning, from my first job as a teacher, I understood that academic education does not give you enough practice. So I remember that I was preparing my first lesson for students for about 8 hours, And for about 5 hours, I couldn't think of what to say to children after I said, hello, I'm your English teacher. So, and this is why I was looking for additional education, and especially that I had friends who moved abroad, who lived abroad, and I'm thankful to their recommendations to choose world-known certifications and to have worldwide acknowledgement of my profession. So that's why before SHRM certification, I had this experience of getting international certification, as I have one from Cambridge University, and I am certified as a teacher of English with the right to teach it to adults for whose English is not native, not mother tongue. So then when I got my second degree as a psychologist, again, it was not enough to me, as I didn't understand what psychologist actually does. That's why I got additional trainings here. That was a 4-year course in transactional analysis and in individual and group psychotherapy. So then I understood that I'm not going to make it my career, but of course all this knowledge is useful in my present career of an HR. So if to speak about my career path, so it was quite long. And I guess that I am the newest HR among all our today's guest speakers. So again, I started in 1998 as a teacher, and I'm really grateful for this experience as maybe the main lesson I learned from working as a teacher, that probably I will never be afraid again of anything in my life. So because, you know, yeah, it helped in many things, and resilience may be the one quality I got from this, from working as a teacher. Then I had experience of lead and manage, and this is actual experience in sales. And again, I understood that it's probably not mine. And so I actually started working in Mary Kay company. I like Pauline, I have 2 big employers, Mary Kay company. So, and I worked as a communication specialist there, and then as a business trainer. And maybe that was the first understanding about an HR job. Yeah, so because I was responsible for training employees, and probably this is like the first step in HR career, though it was not an HR department yet. So then I had experience in working as an event manager, and again, it helped in my future career as an HR. And my HR career started only in 2011. When I came to our group, and at that time we were separate business companies, and we were all aligned only in 2015. And I started as a training specialist, and then I was promoted to an HR BP. I was responsible for agro production unit. And in 2017, I was promoted to a position of an HR director. And yes, it was a big challenge, as I knew everything about agro production. But as I mentioned before, we have several business units in our organization, and they are all different: bank, logistics, elevators, distribution, and really different positions. And it's more than 3,000 employees. And nowadays, its office is more than in one country. Our head office is in Kiev, Ukraine, and we also have offices in Cyprus and now in Romania. And of course, so you see that I'm a self-made HR. And of course, I started looking for improvements and for actually, I understood that I want to have an education in HR sphere, as I didn't have it before. And again, I was looking for something worldwide known. And luckily, I met Ekaterina one day, and this is how I came to SHRM certification. So if to speak about my SHRM SCP path, the main ingredients will be, so the main ingredient, the most important one for me was failure in the first attempt. I'm that case, I'm the one who didn't pass the exam from the first attempt. Despite of the fact I already had experience in getting international certifications, I was that person that underestimated the depth of materials, yes, and that's why I'm really happy actually to have this experience of failure, because I understood a lot of things, and of course I took it really serious. So, and then other ingredients are regular learning and practice, and especially practice, though it's actually both things matter. It's one more ingredient that is without which it's not possible to get certification. In my opinion, it's drilling, and that was quite new for me, as I thought that with having experience, with knowing so many things and in different business units, so it will be enough. But since this exam has two parts, one is theoretical material, you really have to drill a lot to pass an exam. So the next ingredient is self-organization, as there are several ways to prepare for SHRM certification, for exam. You can have an intensive course, and I actually took it, but again, it requires a lot of time and a lot of practicing, and that's why you need to organize yourself, and it's better to do it gradually, and it's better to do it not last minute, not 1 week before an exam. And I was happy to have peers that thought the same, and we actually organized our own group, and we regularly practiced. We chose the day. I remember it was Mondays, so we had happy Mondays, gathering together and preparing for an exam. Yes, and so the next ingredient for success is your peer support. Yeah, by the way, our group, we called it Winter Queens, because we failed in winter. Yeah, that's why we called us Winter Queens, and actually we succeeded then in summer, so maybe we should be recalled now Summer Queens. Yes, and family support, it's because yeah, I really had to devote a lot of time here, and that's why I'm grateful that my family supported me, gave me this chance to have Monday evenings, or sometimes we practiced on Sundays or Saturdays. I'm grateful for them, to them, that they gave me such time, and I could prepare better next time. So, and I'm also ready to share what SHRM certification benefits I got. So I agree with all speakers that told about self-respect. It was, again, important to me, as you know, I felt really more confident when I understood, and when I know that I have provement, yeah, have certificate and education in HR. It's recognition among broad peers. I remember when my colleagues from New York investors office knew that I now have I was successfully certified. They were really surprised. They said that of course they do know what this certification is, and they told me actually that you cannot get a job of an HR in America if you don't have relevant education or certification. So that's why, yes, I became more visible for them too. And it's actually your country recognition, because their second surprise was that I got it in Ukraine. It's actually, you know, this certification is a way to promote your country. Yeah. So yes, Ukraine method. So it's possible in Ukraine or any small country in Europe. Yeah, like not in America. It's your team recognition, and actually it's visibility of whole HR team for the rest of employees. I was surprised to realize it, and my whole team, you know, is proud that actually it's what I told them, that they feel, you know, they feel that they are part of this certification, and this is true because my team is part of my certification, definitely. Yeah, and family recognition, yes. So because especially first time when I was, maybe first week when I was happy and was really proud of being certified, and it's sometimes it was nice to hear that you cannot make mommy wash dishes now, as it's too expensive now because she's certified. So I'm joking here, but I'm not joking about that. Your family is also proud of you. And some tips on the way to certification. This is my recommendation, to invest your own money into certification. I know that this practice when companies can pay for certification, but I'm always for an option that it is at least half financed. It's because if we invest money in something, we value it more, and we pay more attention, and it's actually more responsibility in getting result. So while preparing, solve cases and do tests called quizzes on SHRM platform to understand the logic of tasks. So it's not about it's really the logics of tasks. It's specific in SHRM certification, and it's specific actually in any certification. So because it was same in my previous certification in teaching English. So then it's not actually my recommendation, it's a recommendation our supervisor Dino gave us. While practicing, you should imagine that you're an American HR. I actually did not understand it in the beginning, but then I understood why it is so. America is really a country that works for different markets and with different people. And it's probably the country that experienced most of all the inclusion, diversity issues. And that's why it helps, like when you imagine that you're an American HR, it helps you have this wide vision. Yeah, and imagine, and actually this helicopter view, yeah, probably helicopter view is best describes what I want to say. And yes, have a partner or group for learning and training. It's like a recommendation in doing sports. Yeah, if you have liabilities for someone else. It helps you in self-organization. And yes, find a way to practice what you learn, actually, yeah, as we remember better when we teach others, because in our group practicing, it's what we did. Every time we had someone in charge of some topic, and we should have presented this topic to others, and it's actually what helps remember the material better, best of all. Yes, I guess this is it. Yeah, yes, so I stopped. Yeah.
Ludmila, thank you very much. You know, what I enjoy listening to your stories, and what I enjoy is that you make a great part of my job. You explain almost everything, even about recertification, even about exam. I will tell you a couple of words, and maybe we'll have a couple of questions from our guests. Usually, the preparation takes you from 3 to 6 months. I heard about a couple of stories about 1.5 to 2 months of preparation, but it's really, your English should be advanced and you should have really a lot of international experience to do it so quickly, and or really invest every day time for preparation. But the system is open for you for during 18 months. The preparation course is primarily self-preparing process. It really needs a lot of self-organization and motivation and okay, maybe how it is, discipline to really prepare. And as Ludmila said, the peers and groups really help. So if you decide to go and start your preparation, find some friend. Well, for sure, we will help you to find in between our students, but it's really better. The successful story usually happens when 3-5 people from one company is coming. They push each other, they help, they remind each other that it's so, and it helps. What else is included in preparation? We have more than 20 hours of training. Now it's completely online preparation. Before it was intensive course. Now we separated for smaller meetings, and but anyway, 20 hours in general. How to pass? You can do it in special centers, in prometric centers, but when the COVID started, the new opportunity occurred. You can do it from home. It needs some kind of technical, like window, like mirror staying in front of you, and small details, but you can do it from home. And so visit our site, ask me any kind of questions. You can have these printed book materials. It's almost 5 kilograms of books. It's heavy. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of reading, but it's interesting. Believe me, it's really updated materials. You can see in every set of materials you have a year. And I can't say it's completely new, but they add something every year, change the models, change the focuses, pay more attention to new topics, which is becoming more and more relevant. And so it's interesting journey, believe me. And if to talk that one of the competences is business acumen, it really helps you to understand your business better, and to start to talk with your C-level team at the same language. We really study a lot about strategy and the whole instruments which is necessary to build the strategy. As you remember, I said there is 2 kinds of certification, SHRM CP, SHRM SCP, but the materials you have, it's the same one. It's 2 different exams. it's, yes, inside the learning system, you have 2 sets of questions, but the same books and the same access, and you decide later on what kind of exams to pass. In our case, it's usually SHRM, Senior Certified Professional. We really do our best to prepare our students to that exam. It really needs maybe a little bit more experience, but you gain Senior Certified Professional directly. Next slide. This is the price in euro. It's better. You can buy the self-study materials, but believe me, I have 7 or already 8 years of experience to prepare our students. It's complicated to be self-study prepared. Believe me, there is a couple of cases when people buy from the beginning self-study materials, but after they return to us and say, please, we need intensive course, we need your help. A couple of students did it by themselves. What you should remember, if you want to build international, or I can say not even international, but just sustainable career, to have a good background, I mean, just it's really helps. I can say that every specialist who passed this exam, who get this certification, really know what to do in HR sphere, and really know the answers to main question, or know where to find these answers. It helps your organization, not only you. So ask for investment. I like the Ludmila's idea to share half and half. I mean, just if I'm a psychologist at my first education, that's why I remember, then you invest by yourself. It really helps you to move forward and not to stop and not to, but anyway. What else I can say? If you talk about sustainable career, maybe I have a couple of slides else. Let's check. Yeah, exactly. If you think about sustainable career, we already said that certification helps. What else can help you to be more successful? It's networking and it's inspiration. Really, when you work in some field and doing, I mean, just HR, for example, for years, sometimes it's becoming, I mean, just all of us love people, love business, but anyway, we need to recharge our batteries as well. And as we said, that when you need some oxygen inside the plane, it's better to start with yourself. I mean, just put the mask to yourself. So our teams, our colleagues need us full of energy, full of ideas, full of new solutions and instruments. So that's why I really love this annual conference, and I always say that it's an amazing event, and if you are in the HR sphere, plan at least once, visited it. This year, as you can see, some ex-president is going to have a speech in New Orleans, and by the way, recently our President Zelensky was talking with George Bush as well. So I can share my experience, and I can say that other colleagues who visited us that conference said that it really inspires. It really helps you to move forward and to bring something new for your business and for your practices. So 11 tracks, 4 days, 200 plus sessions. It's interesting how many participants will be this year. I understand for Ukrainians, it's really, really complicated this year to visit any kind of conference and to travel. And that's why you can do it online. And when it's online, you have an access to all materials during 1 month. It helps to deal with time differences, and it helps you to work on materials on comfortable for regime for yourself. So, or at least plan to visit with us next one, but think about online this year. What else? Okay, let's return to some beautiful pictures. Just not to. Okay, it's you can find me in LinkedIn. You can send me email or to our office. Irina, let's return to a couple of slides before I can just add maybe something else and want our experts to give some maybe your tips and your ideas. What helps you as well? If you talk about sustainable career, we already talked about networking, about international certification. We talked about some mentoring program because it's really helpful to remember to use some good practice when you teach other people. You can share this information with your own HR team. You should share this information with another HR colleagues. As Mikhail said, our SHRM certified specialist created the program for people who wanna study maybe more intensively. That's why our global HR program it's longer. It helps you to ask more questions, to be more to ask more questions, to be inside the group of students and to share some expertise from different industries, because the group collect people, HR specialists from different industries. And that's why I think, and I really love that our HR certified specialists wanna share their knowledge, wanna share that expertise, and I know that it helps. I know that it helps in their career again to say the word sustainable. I mean, just sustainably develop their career. Okay. My dear experts, maybe you can share, maybe you read some, I mean, just maybe you love to read some, I mean, just LinkedIn, I mean, just information to get from some worldwide known gurus in HR. Maybe you can share who you are reading, who you subscribe, and or maybe you have some other ideas how to help be productive and develop and motivated to be as strong as possible in HR as a specialist. Who is ready to share? Mikhail?
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me share with you what I usually learn to stay tuned to the old news which are in HR, or at least the trends, to follow the trends and to use these theoretical materials and afterwards try to practice them in my companies. Well, of course, SHRM stays among those who sends regularly the information, and I try from time to time to follow that, to read that. Apart from SHRM, so I used to read Harvard Business Review, and they have different tracks on leadership, on business, on psychology. So any of you can choose whatever you like. So, and definitely, if you have more time, you can dig into it. If you have less time, so they send you kind of summaries or weekly reviews, and you can follow according to your time. Also, I used to read and receive, let's say, Korn Ferry information or distributed information. So a Korn Ferry sends it, well, once again, so we can choose the track and I take those on, once again, leadership, on those other topics which help me to really drive my company and develop my company forward. So this is all together. I mean, I meant leadership, but among others, there are technology news, there are psychology news, there are HR news, compensation benefits, whatever you really like and find important overall or in particular period of time and life cycle of your company. It really universal, not dedicated to any industry, as the certification itself. It is really without any borders, so it can be used in whatever business you work. So that is on the one hand, and definitely I follow local trends, and since 2014 I'm in IT, and definitely some IT web informational sources are among those. However, this is less related to HR. On the other hand, it provides you a lot of information on what's going on in your industry with people. And as IT was very hot in the last couple of years in Ukraine before the war started, so that was definitely important. Among those, at least DOE information and the others, so they're really useful. Well, I think this is overall it. Definitely there are less known things, but you never know where you can find really useful information. So, I mean, keep reading, keep learning yourself, whatever position in the organization you have or whatever experience you have in HR. So this is definitely important. Thank you.
Mikhail, thank you. And I just wanted, just found, the fresh Harvard Business Review. It's what I have at my table right now, and for sure I have the book. I mean, I have it's just the size of the book for instructor. It's just competencies, by the way. Just you can see how big they are. It is.
So this is a new edition, I see.
Yeah, something new for this year. Okay, Polina, can you share some of your ideas? What can you add?
Yes, I would add, I was going to mention Harvard Business Review as well, but I will not repeat it. However, I read it as well. And this practice came to me from Metro, by the way, as well. But what I have noticed that it is important, to my opinion, it is important to stay very well professionally equipped from the HR side and the business side where you work. So if it's about Zoom, yes, it's about fashion, it's about experiential retail. That's why I also read Business of Fashion. It is like Harvard Business Review, but it says all the news about business of fashion around the world, how the biggest conglomerates in fashion act, what they do, what they react, what they publish. I read the articles of their CEOs, and also what I tried to do when I was in Kiev, when everything was not how it is like this. I attend business conferences or business meetings, and I like to listen how the CEOs speak about their companies. I like to listen the CEO's opinion and view on the company, on the business subjects, and on the subjects in general in the country. That's why it's a connection with the CEO from the company where you work. Because if you are in a good, let's say, professional relationship with your direct superior, you can really add more to the organization and learn from the business perspective. That is why business literature, from the professional side, business subscriptions to know more what is happening in the industry, in the country and abroad, because it develops the global mindset, it develops the global view on the things which you are doing in your country. And it is not important whether it's international or local. Maybe if it's international, it's a bit easier to get it, but it's up to you, up to your personality. It's up to your organization of yourself, of your own education. So that is why, from the business perspective, this is, business subscription, which I read, like I said, business of fashion. Then also I like the articles which which I read from the Center for Creative Leadership. They have interesting leadership development programs like Leadership at the Peak, Leadership for Developing the Leaders. That is why, in terms of the leadership development, it's Center for Creative Leadership. I also use SHRM. Like I told you, when I recertified, I bought, it's called SHRM On Demand, and they have more than 700 of 1 hour speeches from various conferences, which are supported or approved by SHRM. They are not only from SHRM. And as long as you buy this subscription, you get it for 1 year. So after I finished my recertification, I tried to listen as much as I can within this 1 year period. And this is given by SHRM, and you can, as a SHRM certified professional, they have a special price, and it's affordable. So that is why I would say it's a constant development in terms of the HR skills and tools to know what is going on. It is business development in the sphere where you work, but not only limited to that, wider. And it's also, and I try to attend or listen webinars and conferences, and because you never know when this bright idea comes for you, because it's like pieces of, I don't know, precious information which you get, and then you use it. And also my colleagues, it is important for me to listen to my colleagues and to listen their stories, their thoughts, their conclusions, their lessons learned, not to be afraid to talk about failures, not to be afraid to talk about what didn't work well, because we always try to show ourselves that this is good, I do this, but it's also valuable when you talk about what didn't work well, and what have you learned from that, and what you will do next. So it's like this.
Thank you, Polina. And let's, Ludmila, you opened the topic of failure and how it's important it is for career development and for growth in general. So what would you like to add?
Yeah, okay. So I'm also subscribed to Harvard Business School, and maybe one more tool for you from them. It's if they have agribusiness seminars every year, and we try to send participants every year, and then we have business cases available. And they are about agribusiness. It's what Polina said, that it's important not only know about HR issues here, but about business in general. So, and these business cases are real help, and this is a lot of material. So believe me, it's enough for 1 year to get these cases and to study them for 1 year. And next year, when we send other people, yes, and we have more. And also Stanford University. So they also have interesting guides and newsletters, and a lot of HR trends. And also seminars and online seminars. So the one that we postponed is about remote work and about leading from home. I think this topic will now be hot for several more years, not only due to pandemic, yes, we understand now, Okay, so all the rest, SHRM newsletter, yeah, same.
It's interesting how we all discuss the same topic. Yeah, it's necessary to be inside, to know about your business and be updated about the situation in globally and locally. I can add a couple of more things for sure. LinkedIn, and a lot of people who you can read and just listen. There is a really interesting person, Josh Bersin, Dave Ulrich. You can subscribe and just read what they say. And Korn Ferry, I love them as well. And many, I mean, just sometimes. Right now, it's impossible to say I can't find this information. It's complicated to find time to read, to listen, to just to pay attention to the information. It's not the problem. The problem is time. I mean, just a couple of last tips. LinkedIn, your profile, pay attention to it. As Mikhail said, to be visible. The visibility gives you more opportunities. So just thanks. Right now, a lot of specialists who can help you with this, career mentoring, mentors, and people who really know how your LinkedIn profile should look like. And Ludmila, thank you for reminding about business cases. And if you do something good, show it. There is a lot of different kind of awards in HR sphere. Find the good one, find the reliable, just transparent awards, and show what you do, and be proud of your successes, of your team, of your good cases, and it helps you as well. Helps to be visible inside the company, outside the company, help to build the good brand, employer brand, and helps you to attract the best talent. And it's what we usually do as HR professional specialists during our everyday work. So I want to say thank you very much. Thank you for your time, for your insights, for your stories. It was really, even for me, for a person who knows you for so many years, and for a person who work with you and communicate so often, it was really interesting. Join us, be a part of a community professional, share, help, ask the question, and for sure you can find any of our experts in LinkedIn and can ask directly some questions. So be good, take care, Slava Ukraini. And I really think so that from our small successes, we move forward to victory, and for our great future, and for sure we will have it, for sure, and I hope as soon as possible. So thank you, take care, and develop yourself, develop your company, and be good. Bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye to all.
Yes, thank you.